Want free stuff that actually helps me record this podcast? Then visit MarkRomanEmpire.com and click support. Discover free stuff from companies like Coffee Bean, Farmer Boys, Uber, and Lyft. Plus, choice products and services from our sponsors. Hey, keep checking back for new stuff that we'll be adding. And before you buy anything, make sure your purchases count. Take advantage of select offers that help me, the Mark Roman, record one more podcast for you to hear
for free.
A podcast now on Apple Podcasts. Finally, right? You're welcome. MarkRomanEmpire.com. Click support. Thanks, guys. You're nobody till somebody loves you. Spreading the news like mayonnaise on toast. The policy of truth. Gary, I have a mission for you. Eastbound and down, loading up and truck 'em. Flux capacitor? Okay. But let me tell you about that time I drove a cab. Money that's something, chicks that read. I want my Mark TV. First, you're not on TV. Podcast. Now, that is some weird and wild stuff. Did you know that, Ed? Yes! Oh, please don't drop me home, because it's not my home, it's their home, and I'm welcome no more. Well, Robin attended Juilliard. I attended Hillsdale. I'm a graduate of the San Francisco Comedy College. I've traveled the Midwest quite extensively. I lived through The Big Short and I had a pretty good time doing that. I've seen Pat Robertson jabber about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact you're talking to a subversive. So what do you think? Do you think I'm qualified?
Oh, well, I think we'll need to pray about that and ask your father.
Shut up, Marilyn! Just eat it. Just eat it. The Mark Roman Empire. Also, a podcast. It's showtime. Women are girls. Rule my world. I said they rule my world. Act your age, mama. Not your shoe size. Maybe we could do the twirl. You don't have to watch Dynasty to have an attitude. You just leave it all up to me. My love will be your food. Yeah. You don't have to be rich to be my girl. You don't have to be cool to rule my world. Ain't no particular sign I'm more compatible with. I just want your extra time and your kiss. Okay. That was my Markioki of Kiss by Prince. Hey, let's be honest. Any attempt of anything that's remotely Prince is, by definition, borderline absurdly audacious and ambitious on one. But hey, what can I say? Wakanda forever. Hey, working actor Adrian Bustamante is on the show today. We may have met on the first show I worked on, perhaps. Maybe Adrian can help clear that up. That was back in the San Francisco Bay Area days. Treasure Island may have been involved. The actual island, not the casino. You remember when Treasure Island was a novel by Robert Louis Stevenson?
Let me tell you kids a story about Betamax and Intellivision.
Oh, hi there. I'm Mark Roman. Mark who? All right. Mark Roman. You know, like the Empire. My interview with Adrian in a moment. I used to know him as a different name. We'll get into that. We are at the world-famous Musicians Institute here in Hollywood on Hollywood Boulevard, carefully nestled between a Tom Cruise Scientology hostel and a fresh new 7-Eleven. Sorry, Mom and Pop mini-marts. We are safely within stumbling distance of the legendary Pig and Whistle, as well as Jameson's Irish Pub, where everyone knows Lieutenant Frank's name. Ollie, as ever, is on sound. He's like, what's with all these people that speak American? When are we going to get another proper Brit on? I'm working on it, Ollie. I'm working on it. The things I do. The things I do. Hey, guess what, kids? We're on Apple Podcasts. Finally. Oh, that's so awesome. Very, very, very happy. Apparently, Apple had an issue with the cover art, the cover photo. So because of the gold coin, which I'm very grateful to my buddy, musician, we're going to have him on an upcoming podcast. He actually created it. Miles did. Just the resolution apparently wasn't what was needed. So I had to come up with a new logo. So I hope you guys like it. It's gradually growing on me. I miss the gold coin, but it's there in the corner, and it's still going to be part of the thing. But this is where we are now. Okay, this is my Mark Maron's got his blue thing with his beard, ignoring how his facial hair changes throughout the years, and he's had that since day one. So I feel good. Do you feel good? I feel good. Cool. Do I need to tell you the health update? Because I worked out Monday. That's awesome. Today, didn't. I also missed today the Stanley tribute ceremony they had in Hollywood. I didn't miss, though, the helicopters overhead, because I can always hear them, because literally I'm like bowling ball rolling distance of the Dolby Theater, it feels at times. So I missed out on both going to the gym and the historic Hollywood Stanley tribute ceremony to make this podcast for you guys today. So you're welcome, okay? This is me giving to you all these sacrifices. You're welcome. You're welcome. The SAG Awards, didn't get to watch them because I was working, but caught a couple clips, and I had some thoughts. Now, unfortunately, this year I could not vote. I am, at the moment, a member in good standing, dues paid up, SAG-AFTRA member. However, there's a deadline if you want to get the screeners, as well as also have your voting privileges. So I paid my dues after that deadline date. So even though I got my new current SAG-AFTRA card in my wallet, I'm ready to show at a moment's notice to everyone that wants to record me in their production on video without a contract. I couldn't vote for the SAG-AFTRA Awards. Sometimes it happens. Sacrifices we make. Because I had to put my money in this podcast, kids. Again, the things I do for you. You're welcome. And, there's a lot of just distressing stuff in the news, from the seemingly small stuff like idiot assholes hitting golf balls into the Pacific Ocean, because apparently there's not enough microplastics in the Pacific, to a lot more disturbing stuff, entitled white boys of all ages staring down and mocking tribal elders. And then most recently, and they're still researching, and I'm sure I'll get the latest on the news tonight, entitled white boys of all ages armed with racism, homophobia, bleach, MAGA hats, and nooses. Yeah. In 2019. Wow. So I need something to help me get through my day as a white guy. I get it. All right. There's a lot of stuff I don't have to deal with, but I would like to live in a world where regardless of what your skin color is, you don't have to deal with assholes in MAGA hats upset at you because you are however you happen to be. And they're armed with their bleach and their nooses. That doesn't need to be in the world that I like to live in. There's a lot of really cool people who don't look like me, and they deserve the exact same opportunities that I seem to enjoy. So I'm that guy. Anyway, the SAG Awards made me happy because Glennie Close was one of the many women who won an award, as well as Rachel Brosnahan, the marvelous Ms. Maisel. I say Glennie Close. I don't know Glenn Close,
But my mother apparently did before Glenn Close became the Glenn Close you and I all know. And I grew up, oddly enough, as the son of Elmer Gantry's bitch, hearing my mother, the very one who would say,
Oh, well, we should ask your father about that.
she had no problem referring to Glenn Close as Glenny Close. And she would do it with a smile. She had fond remembrance of Glenny. I think Glenny Close had a different remembrance of Sing Out and Up With People. She's on record. Glenn Close, I understand. There's also a lot of people of color. Finally, they got some great recognition of the SAG Awards, and I was really happy to see that. Even though Crazy Rich Asians were nominated, they didn't get any wins. A little disappointed about that, but apparently I just found this out today because I'm still catching up on it. The Crazy Rich Asians and Black Panther casts on the red carpet was a huge hit, and that makes me really, really happy. I did get to see, we'll get to that in a sec, because I want to mention a few people here that were awesome. I'm going to pronounce his name incorrectly here. Mahershala Ali. In the Green Book, which I need to read, which apparently the Green Book is the 1940s, 50s, 60s Siri for Black people. If you want to go to a hotel and not die, that's what I gather. I'm looking forward to watching that film. But I've seen Mahershala on a lot of really cool stuff, and I'm really happy to see him get the recognition he richly deserves. Rami Malek, for those of you who don't know, he's actually his parents were Egyptian immigrants. So for anyone who's upset about immigrants, you probably can't enjoy Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie. And while you're at it, anything by Queen, because, well, you know, Freddie Mercury. Anyway, Sandra Oh got an award for Killing Eve. Black Klansman got snubbed. I was a little disappointed about that. But Black Panther. Okay, best moment. I love how Chadwick Boseman referenced Nina Simone to be young, gifted, and black. I listened to that today. That's a good tune. There's also a great rendition of it by Aretha. Very good. Love it, love it, love it. That's on the must listen to right now and heavy to rotation. But did you see Angela Bassett? She literally was glowing. As Chadwick Boseman spoke, she was holding the actor trophy, and she was just glowing. And that, for me, was just a moment. And, you know, as much as I can empathize with someone who doesn't look like me, as I'm a white guy, I don't know. I really appreciated, she glowed. And I just wish that someone like Angela Bassett, who's been in the industry forever, even though she looks like she's in her 20s still, she's fantastic. She deserved that glow a lot earlier in her career. And a lot of people do. And I think that's why Nina Simone wrote the line, to be young, gifted, and black. It's nice to see that finally we're doing a little something to become more of a actually diverse society. And then Alan Alda, he got the Lifetime Achievement Award. And there's something about how Alan Alda, I don't know if it's how he talks, I don't know if it's his mannerisms, a little bit how I can't quite put my finger on it. It's like a little bit of all that. He somehow viscerally reminds me of my dad, which is weird because they don't share the same talents. They don't share the same outlook on life. Very different personalities, but it's weird. I don't know. Maybe this is my defense mechanism to deal with growing up as the son of Elmer Gantry's bitch. But every time I see Alan Alda and I hear him speak, it's almost like he's this, you know, as an actor, a substitute father for me, I guess. I don't know. I guess we all kind of do that to a certain degree. Pick the parents we wish we had. But Alan Alda is definitely that. And I've been really grooving on his Clear and Vivid podcast, which he just started, and he's dealing with Parkinson's, which you could clearly see when he accepted the award at the SAG Awards ceremony. You could see his hands shaking. But I just love his honesty and his directness, And, you know, of course, I grew up watching MASH, the TV show, and he was Hawkeye, even though the movie's better. But still, there's a lot of great stuff Alan Alda has been in. Love Alan Alda. He's awesome. And glad he got recognized. Hey, did you know, speaking of recognition and awards ceremonies, they still don't have a host for the Oscars. Lieutenant Frank's still available. But you got to sign the petition, all right? 39 people's not enough, guys. Vegas90210.com. Click Oscars to sign that petition. $5. It can be yours. You want $5 while supporting this podcast? Try Cash App. I did. I simply linked a debit card, then sent at least $5 via Cash App. Instantly, $5 was added to my Cash App account. Thanks, Cash App. Now, one of my favorite things with Cash App is the boosts. Pretty groovy feature. Whenever I catch a ride with Lyft and I pay with that cool black debit card Cash App sent me, I save 10%. Apparently, I can save with Cash App boosts at Whole Foods, Domino's Pizza, and any coffee shop as well. There's a list of boost choices. Hey, I get it. You've heard about Cash App on other podcasts. You know the ones. The ones with all that MMA and Fear Factor money. Look, a dude who kind of reminds me of that bully from high school, but says all the right woke things now, mostly. The dude driving a high-end sports car to do a set at the Comedy Store. That dude is not worried about how to pay for his next podcast. I am. So use my code, WKXRVBX, to support me and earn your $5. Sorry, it's not a cool, easy code like Roman. The empire's not big enough yet. Use my current code, WKXRVBX, to support me and earn your $5 with Cash App, available in your app store. Venka. She still needs our help, guys and ladies, and those of you who have a different designation. I love all of you, but we got to rally here a little bit, okay? We need a hero cheer for her and also for her partner in crime and fellow homeless compatriot, Will, which makes them together, Will and Grace. Venka is my operations manager from back in the mortgage days, and now she's homeless. On top of that, she's struggling with a stroke from 2 years ago that doctors, they missed it. Yeah, we kind of didn't see that. Yeah, sorry. And she didn't find out until literally a few months ago and finally has the documentation. To learn more, go to MarkRomanEmpire.com, click Venka. She's got a Social Security hearing in March, but her and Will both need our help to get there. And she's got concerns now as well about the bureaucracy and what might happen in March at that hearing. Now, if you'll go and check out the GoFundMe for Will that Venka set up, there's only $10, and it's been up for about 28 days now. So can you survive on $10? I know I can't survive on $10, so help Will out. Now let's look at Venka's GoFundMe. She's raised $3,100 of the $20,000 goal she set last year, and she's been getting $200 donations from an anonymous source basically every 7 to 10 days. Can you live on $200 every 7 to 10 days? Oh, and by the way, you are dealing with the complications of a stroke. I'd have a challenge with that myself. So she could really use our help. I've been helping her where I can. If you can help out, that would be fantastic. Awesome. Please do so. You can go for more information and figure out ways to help and also how to donate. Go to MarkRomanEmpire.com. Click Venka. So there's this article in the New York Times, why are young people pretending to love work? And apparently this is a new thing, but I'm going to talk about this a little bit in the interview with Adrian here coming up in a little bit. It's an interesting article I recommend you check out. It's in the New York Times from January 26, written by Aaron Griffith. Why are young people pretending to love work? I saw the greatest minds of my generation log 18-hour days and then boast about #hustle on Instagram. When did performative workaholism become a lifestyle? Great question. I fucking hate the word hustle. I know sometimes people mean well, but whenever someone tells me, hey, I love your hustle, I clinch up, because to me, hustle sounds like used car salesman. It's like the CD guys on the boulevard that literally intimidate people and steal. I watch them. They'll like literally pull money out of people's pocketbooks, or they'll ask for money, and if they don't get what they want, they demand more, which is legally called aggressive solicitation. They could be arrested by LAPD if there's resources to do that. There's not. So I hate the word hustle, because to me, that's what hustle is. I just found, and I'm grateful to The Big Short, we talked with Adrian a little bit about this. If you do what you love in life, then other things kind of sort themselves out. The fact that you have to pretend to love to work for assholes who are basically going to profit off of everything that you do and you get very little from it. Just a couple weeks ago, we had the stats on the new billionaires, how young they are, and the numbers are just, they're jaw-dropping. The disparity of wealth. You have a handful of people that make just insane amounts of money, and then you have huge numbers of people that are struggling to survive around the world. And it just, it's like looking at the makeup of the U.S. Senate or the U.S. House of Representatives when you have a population that's about 51% female, and that's not reflected in this alleged representative government body. It's just simple math. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, I could talk a lot more about that. I guess we got to save that for another podcast, but don't hustle. Just be you. Do your thing. Maybe make the world a slightly better place. Hey, do you guys know that you can listen to the podcast now on Apple Podcasts? That's right. But you can also listen to it on Mixcloud, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. There we are all Mark Roman Empire. On SoundCloud, it's Mark Roman Podcast. If you go to markromanempire.com, there's all the links plus rolling new grooviness, not only how to listen, but all a bunch of other cool stuff. Don't forget, we got a new profile for the podcast on Instagram, Mark Roman Empire. My interview guest today is Adrian Bustamante. He's a fellow SAG-AFTRA actor. He's done a lot more than I have, but we've had different paths here. I'm really happy for him and proud of him. You may know him or seen him on The Newsroom, Hansel and Gretel, Jane the Virgin, and Lethal Weapon, the TV show. Look for him in upcoming seasons of Bosch on Amazon. I'm really excited about that. We're both from Northern California. We also share a previous career. And we got started in film and television about the same time, possibly on the same production, in the San Francisco Bay Area. Now, I originally was going to interview him last fall, but wouldn't you know it, he booked a commercial. Isn't that awesome? I'm really happy for him. So anyway, really happy that we were finally able to bring him back. Hey, let's finally catch up with Adrian Bustamante. Adrian.
Yo, Adrian.
I know, everyone knows that, right?
Never heard that before. Ever.
Actually, all right, before we even get to how we first met,
Okay.
we got to settle this, because when I first knew you, you were Raul.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And we've gotten to know each other so quickly, so long ago, that it's like when you see a buddy, you're not like, well, hello, Adrian, how are you today? It's like, dude, what's up, man?
It's very true. No,
So the need to actually use the name hasn't been.
there's very few people, and I'm thinking about it right now, there's very few in LA that I have down here that know me as Raul. Everyone kind of knows me as Adrian because I moved from Northern California to Southern California.
So you abandoned Raul.
No,
and
'cause
left Raul up in Northern California. No, I understand this.
Yeah.
It's a fellow Northern Californian.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that should stay up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very confusing thing when I go and see, anytime anybody from Northern California, or that part of my life is in Southern California, because then I have everyone calling me Raul or Adrian, and
who's Adrian?
I just found out it was just easier to tell everyone that my middle name, since I was going by it for work.
Sure.
As opposed to like, what would happen is I'd say, "Hey, my name's Raul," and then someone all of a sudden during the conversation would say Adrian, and then the person that I just met would be like, "Why are you lying to me and calling yourself Raul?" And I'd be like, have to go through this whole rigmarole. And
I totally relate to that because I have a stage and a SAG-AFTRA name that's different from my actual legal last name because A, I hate my legal last name. B, my dad thought it was a good idea to swipe it from a dude named Adolph Nels. Yeah. And number 3, I just shared as well. It's not even the blood name. What the hell?
what's going on?
Yeah. So I get a respect with 1,000 pardons to Curtis Matthews, my comedy teacher at the San Francisco Comedy College, who basically was like, yeah, these comics have these stage names. What the fuck's all going on about that?
Yeah.
He's grumpy. He's toured with Bill Hicks, but he's in recovery. He's got a cool, I think he just started a podcast too. He's got he does recovery tours. As does my friend Veronica Porsche. She's up in Portland now doing for folks who are in recovery that want to enjoy comedy and they don't want to, have to be drinking.
I like it. So no.
I have a hard time relating. Apparently, I don't have addictive personality, but I respect people that
Hey, everyone to each their own. But I think that's great. That's great. I like Portland too. Portland's a nice little city.
Is it?
Yeah, I like it. You ever been?
Been to Ashland?
I don't know. I've never been to Ashland, so I have no comparative. But
Fair enough.
Portland is definitely a cool city to check out if you ever get a chance.
Fair enough. Well, I like Adrian.
Okay.
I also like Raul. I like both.
I mean, I like both my names. To be honest, the only reason I changed it was before everything happened, which should have happened years ago in the industry, which was, being very open to all minorities that are working in the industry. So I came down and they were like, ooh, a Raul? I don't know if we're going to be looking for a Raul.
Yeah.
Not knowing what I would sound like or anything before I got into the casting room. And now it's like, where's the Raul? We need a Raul.
Right, exactly.
So I'm just, we'll see what happens. Stick with Adrian for a while, though.
Yeah. No, wow. I mean, as much as a white guy like me can get it,
Well, I mean, when you look at me, it's not like you see, oh my God, look at this Hispanic gentleman. It's usually like I have to explain to people that I have like, a Hispanic background and I'm half Mexican and all this other stuff.
Right. You can wear different hats.
Yeah.
And you get the ethnically ambiguous thing, which is great because it's like it's not just one role that you can play.
For sure. It definitely has benefited me more than it's hindered me in my time in this acting world.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, happy you're down here.
I'm happy. I'm happy I'm down here too.
Yeah, right?
I love Southern California.
Now, were you raised the way I was, being from Northern California, like me as well, to hate on Southern California? Was that part of your upbringing? Because you grew up in, was it Fremont?
Yes, I grew up in Fremont. Oh, I was born in Fremont, grew up in Antioch. But
where's Fremont?
Fremont is in what they consider like the South Bay of the Bay Area, I guess.
There's a Fry's there.
There is a Fry's there.
Yeah.
There is a very big Fry's there. That's funny. I can see. I'm laughing because I can see the.
I can see it too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Which is roughly about, I guess Fremont's like 45 to 50 minutes away from San Francisco.
So is it fair? It's kind of like the tippy top of Silicon Valley, right?
Yes.
Kind of like the northern point
accurate.
Before you go through whatever hills those are on the 680 to get
Yeah, I don't know even know what those are.
into Pleasanton, I guess.
Yeah,
And
so
then
I was born there. But yeah, to answer your question, a lot of people growing up in Antioch, like when you're younger, like hate on Southern California. And it got really big in like with being in sports and things like that. But then you realize when you get down here, I'm sure like yourself, that like no one down here gives a shit. They're like, what? They're like,
right.
"No, we love Northern California. It's so green up there.
Why you hating, bro?
It's like, oh, you guys don't hate us? They're like, no, I would hate it. It's great up there. It's beautiful. And you get
That's crazy.
back up there and they're like, oh, everyone's at the beach. And
Right.
It's like, all right, I guess. But
I had the exact same thing. When I got down here, I was like, oh, I get it. We were jealous. That's what it was.
Exactly what
There's
it
so much cool stuff here.
yeah,
You know?
oh, cool. The weather's nicer and it's like a different vibe. Oh, cool. That's why everyone
Right?
likes it.
It's amazing. Amazing. So you ended up in Antioch, which I remember when I was in the East Bay, that seemed like, that was the other side of Mount Diablo,
Mm.
and you had to like take all the circuitous route on a wagon train, all these different roads, like go out of your way because it's not like direct line of sight. 'Cause
Yeah.
Unless you have a helicopter.
It was the most it was the craziest little drives as when you were growing up. They got better because they finally built better highways to it. But
Right.
when we were growing up, there was like 2-lane highways going into town, and I had tumbleweeds across the street from my house and cows living like 2 blocks over. And then they just built uncontrollably over a period of like 5 years and
Right.
just became like, bedroom community suburbia.
You got Disco Bay right down the street.
Disco Bay, yeah, living on the
Discovery Bay is what
yeah.
it says on the map. But, yeah.
But they love the
Been to a few parties on that Disco Bay
yeah,
there.
for sure.
Back
the
in the
Disco
mortgage
Bay, the
industry
water.
days.
People jet skiing, wakeboarding. People used to love
Yeah,
wakeboarding when
yeah.
I was growing up. That was always a big thing.
Yeah. Very cool.
The water
very
of
cool.
Disco Bay.
So I grew up with 2 parents that like still to this day live in the exact same house. They're still like, as God ordained, they're still together. Yeah, that's gives you a little sense of why I wrote the poem "Son of Elmer Gantry's Bitch." But for you, I understand like your parents split up when you're young, but you got a pretty supportive, cool.
Yeah. I mean, my family did the divorce thing when I was probably before I got into my teens, but it's definitely better off for them. So it kind of created a better support system in regards to like I had 2 parents. They're really supportive. They just happen to live in different households. But I didn't get the life. I don't have I go back to when I see my parents. My mom lives in Vegas now, which is crazy.
crazy.
She's been there for like 3 years, and my dad's still
Got a place to stay when you go to Vegas.
Exactly,
That's
it's
awesome.
great. I'm like, hey, Vegas, you live in Henderson? It's only 25 miles from the
I
strip.
was gonna say it's probably not Vegas proper. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
either
you know-
Henderson
I mean,
or
you know Vegas.
Summerlin
You were in
or
Vegas
something.
for a little while,
I got
right?
stuck for 2 years.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like, yeah, they're out in Henderson, which is like not necessarily what people think of when they think of Las Vegas, but you then realize that people actually do have to live and work in Las Vegas and don't always have to work on the strip.
Exactly.
if they
They're
live
definitely 2 different worlds. Yeah.
But yeah, it's very supportive, good family, man. It was great. My siblings have been great.
What
no
siblings?
complaints. I have my oldest brother Robert, my younger brother Paul, my younger sister Scarlett. They're great. Everyone's still in the
cool.
Bay though. Like besides me and my mom, everyone's still living in Northern California.
Are they? I imagine different industries. So they'll be down here.
Yeah.
right?
Well, yes. My older brother's an art. He's an artist, so technically in the arts.
What kind of artist?
I'm very bad with the type of art. It's really good art, but I don't know how to ever explain like
Is he hurling hamsters against plate glass to see
paint on canvas?
Oh, he's a painter.
A painter, yeah. So he's a
Just
painter.
say he's a painter.
So I didn't know if you were getting specific. People were like, well, "What type of art is that? Like, is it like modernism?" And I'm like, I don't know. I thought
gotcha.
you were going with that. I'm like, I have no idea. But it's great. He's super talented.
Anthrocubist, but on Tuesdays. Yeah.
It's exactly, and he's super talented. My younger sister, she's works in an automotive dealership. My brother Paul, he works at like a party rental store, but he's super into like filming and directing and writing and stuff like that. Just never really got into it as like a career, but does it as like something that he loves. So it's really weird. And my sister draws and paints as well on the side. So we all have like this weird artistic background somewhere in our blood.
Sounds like a cool artistic background.
Yeah, which is
awesome.
Which is awesome. So I think that's why everyone's really supportive. And even though my parents were never in that world, for some reason they tend to be like, "Oh yeah, it's great." I
have one sibling, a younger brother that I know of.
There might be more, but it's fine.
I just don't know. He acts like the older, and he's in the Air Force, and he's probably, like overseeing and leading a team that's responsible for the drones that the government will not acknowledge that are literally watching what we're doing right now. There's like fractal X-ray, whatever, Superman vision looking into the building right now. So,
Maybe he's listening to you on your,
Hi,
your
Eric.
cell phone now.
How's it going, bud? Hope you're still not mad at me about that thing when we were kids. We were kids. Is it cool? Yeah. So that's
time to let it go, Eric.
Right. Exactly. So then we meet
Yeah.
on, was it Trauma?
It was Trauma.
It was Trauma because
Yeah.
there's a couple usual suspects back then. There was, I almost got away with it.
Yes, that was definitely a part of the San Francisco
Right.
filming community.
The World's Astonishing News,
Love-
exclamation point.
Loved working in that show as we're starting my career. It was
Right.
so much fun.
And then there's the show that eventually on IMDb became, to my Asian friends, a deeply and respectfully apologize.
What was it? What was it?
Gaiko-kan Karada Kosuka. Kusaka. Sorry. I think it's Japanese. I just remember I was in a car with a stunt driver driving up, and I'm like the passenger cop. It was a cop like TV movie type thing.
I think I was like, I did background as like a political person on that show.
Oh, dude, mine was so exciting.
Mine
and it was so
not
early.
exciting at all.
No, dude, I was literally like, I remember as a little kid watching like, Bullet with Steve McQueen and Streets of San Francisco, and different shows that are like set in San Francisco with the hills, Starsky and Hutch. Was that in San Francisco? Whatever. The ones where you just, where the cars are like catching air as they go over the hills. And I'm like, that's so cool. And then suddenly, literally in the first year that I'm like doing acting and getting paid for it, I'm like riding side saddle, next to this stunt dude who's wearing like shorts. He's got from the costume department, the police stuff up top, but down below he's just got shorts like cargo shorts, like all the crew have,
But as far as I remember, I mean, it was a pretty.
We're catching air.
It was a good thing, but was it a legit stunt like thing? Did they like?
Yeah,
now that
we caught air. I was concerned. I was concerned.
But that's what I'm saying. Was it like properly set up to the point where you were like, oh yeah, I feel really comfortable right now? Were you like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to make it through this.
Dude,
or not.
this was so non-union. It's not even funny. Oh my God. And it's like, we're from another country, so we can't spell SAG-AFTRA. I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, it's a global rule number one. Okay, global as in like, it doesn't matter what language you speak or where you're filming on the planet.
All those were great. World Astonishing News was just great. It was
but it was trauma.
Trauma was definitely.
What'd you do? No, you were one of the EMS guys, right?
I was one of the EMT guys. Yeah.
Wow, I remember
it was
that.
like
Okay.
that was the thing that like
I was a male nurse.
And it was like, but
don't call me Fokker.
It was cool though. I mean, sure you got the same thing. It was a really cool learning curve in the sense that like it was all background minus like one thing that I got to say on the whole show. But like, we were working like multiple days a week on this like NBC show, and I'm like
on Treasure Island,
no idea what's going on, and I'm learning
a prime time NBC show.
Yeah, and I'm like, holy shit, this is great,
right? I know it was awesome.
Yeah, but that's where we met. And so what was that? 10 years ago, almost now.
I think so. I think it's like 2010, maybe even 2009. Yeah,
might have been roughly right around there, catching up to that 10-year mark. A decade.
Damn, it's crazy. All right, moving right along. Oh, I forgot. We wanted to clear up because for folks listening, they might do some Googling like I did today, just out of curiosity. You are Adrian Bustamante, the actor.
I am.
You are not Adrian Bustamante, the retired road racing cyclist from Colombia. Although
that sounds amazing,
right?
If I could somehow trade places, I might do that.
You're also not the United Airlines pilot from Henderson, Nevada on LinkedIn.
No, that's great.
Your mom's in Henderson, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe this is what I
feel like these are fictional persons. But here's the best one that I found. Okay, you are not the Adrian Bustamante, who is a successful leader who pioneers operational efficiencies to enhance value, grow revenue, and profitability while creating customer and employee-centric work environments focused on achievement from Claremont, Florida, also on LinkedIn.
I feel like that person is just a manager somewhere. And
dude, have you ever been to Claremont?
Never.
Oh my God, it was my nightmare my first summer out of college to sell books door to door. It's a retirement community.
Why Claremont?
It's literally in the middle of Florida. It's away from anything that's remotely fun. There's nothing of Miami there. There's nothing of even Orlando there. Yeah, you're actually like lusting for corporate theme park BS that's, due east from you.
You were the excitement.
Yeah, so I'm selling school books to grandparents.
Yeah,
that's basically what I did that summer.
Nice.
That's Claremont. So this guy who's talking like, I don't know, I talk about it a little in the monologue here about the corporate speak
Hell of a job on that bio, though. I mean, that sounds
Right.
amazing.
Well, we kind of dealt with that a little bit because we were both in the mortgage industry back in the day before we went into acting. So
God help us.
what I know, right? Well, I'm kind of thankful for The Big Short. That's what kind of like helped to reset my compass and forced me to kind of reevaluate and go, what the fuck am I doing here?
Same here. I think we both talked about that. That was the only reason
Oh,
I got
really?
into this
Okay.
industry was like the market fell south. I was completely engulfed in it and was making money, and then all of a sudden I wasn't, and I was like, oh my God, maybe I wait. Now that it's like breaking some weird trance. Like what? I'm not happy, huh? Like, and then you wake up and figure out something else to do that makes you happy. You're like, oh crap, it's the best thing that ever happened. Best and worst thing that ever happened to me in regards to
Me too.
My life.
Well, for me, it was like I never really liked this in the first place.
Yeah.
But it's like it gave me permission to actually do what I enjoy, what I love, without worrying about the financial component.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know, it's kind of amazing because like I talk in the Monarch a little bit, like millennials today are like struggling with that. There's literally like an article in the New York Times talking about this. Just the disconnect between, all this corporate speak that gets, shoveled on top of the workers to encourage them to be happy and produce more for, a select few that actually reap the profits.
Yeah. It's an interesting world, man. The way things are changing. I mean, I'm almost like I think a lot of these people are kind of catching on a lot earlier in life in regards to like, oh, wait, it's better for me to either work for myself or it's better to me to like work at a job that I like and enjoy versus something that I'm just here for the money and because I have to. I mean, some people you have to take the job for the money and you have to, sadly, we all need money to live. But I think some of these people are learning a little bit sooner than at least I learned in my life. And I was like, oh, wait.
Well, the key thing I'm hearing from you that really resonates is the, you have to stop thinking about, okay, I have this one job that takes care of me and think of yourself as literally like your own mini corporation. Even when you're like, it's just you and you literally don't have a bucket to piss in. But you have to think that way. And especially in this business, I mean, we'll talk a little later. I know you've representation, but even with different, people on your team that help you, that are professionals and have, great credentials and connections and things like that. At the end of the day, it's your team. So it's like you're the one who has to make the ultimate decisions, and you have to think in terms of not just, okay, this one gig right now, but okay, this is a piece in my grand puzzle here. What's next?
For sure. You got to always think ahead. And especially like, I think you make a huge point that I always try and tell people is like, you want a good team and you want to build a team that we're all on the same page. But in the end, like it is your team. So there's always these people that live in this town that like have representation. They're so scared about making a decision that goes against their representation's advice and things like that. And you're like, but you're their client. And in every other industry, if you say I'm somebody's client, you know that like in the end, you make the final decision. Like there's no, unless you're like sitting next to a lawyer on trial and the lawyer says, don't say anything, and then you say something and you're an idiot. But I mean, at the same time, it's like you make the decisions and you take the advice, and you have to think in the grand scheme of things, like you said. But yeah, in the end, it's your team that you're helping move along, as long as they're helping you too.
Well, your team's been working great because you've got we'll go into you have a very healthy IMDb. I literally printed it out because there's so much. I'm fanning. For those of you who can't see the YouTube live stream, which we don't have yet. Hey, we just got on the Apple Podcasts, all right?
Hey,
one thing at a time,
One
guys.
win at a time, all right?
But there's literally like 7 pages here of IMDb listings. And that's, commercial by its nature is not going to show up on IMDb. And you've done a bunch of commercials, and there's all the other stuff maybe that doesn't show up on here. But before we get into that, I just want to touch on your hobbies for a quick second, because according to your Instagram, you are a foodie and an adventure lover, not a hater, lover. So explain.
A foodie. I love food. The Instagram bio thing is all ways to try and get more people to put eyeballs on you. So I was like,
you got like 4,000 followers on the Instagram.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just
looking at your lunch, with arugula or whatever.
The food thing was cool. I love food. I love going to places and traveling based on food. I got into the food world in LA because I did like a cooking show that was online that lasted for a little bit. And I ended up by meeting other people in the industry. And it was just a cool world. You realize that like...
By cooking show, do you mean Hell's Kitchen?
No, I mean like...
A different cooking show.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
it's... Yeah, I wouldn't...
Because you were on Hell's Kitchen, according to IMDb.
I did. I got a chance to eat on Hell's Kitchen. It was
It's not an
amazing.
accusation. It's just it's a reflection.
Listen,
It's like-
okay? Don't you tell me where I ate. I did eat on Hell's Kitchen. It was a great experience. I got paid money to sit and eat great food and listen to Gordon Ramsay yell at people through a window.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, I got in the food world and it was great, man. I love LA's a melting pot of all these different industries. And the more you get out there and you learn, you're like, oh man, you got these people that all these want to be chefs, and you learn this how much of an art it is and how good it is. And then I ended up
food trucks.
Yeah, a few things like that. And then traveling's fun. Everyone likes to travel, I think, for the most part. And then I got into photography, amateur wise. I use my iPhone. I don't have a camera, but
iPhone's a pretty sophisticated piece of equipment.
It does the job. It does the job. So it's a great outlet for me.
It's the reason why they have those huge billboards about pictures
taken on the iPhone.
Right? I mean,
we swear.
I'm late to get on the iPhone bandwagon, but I finally did this past summer, and I'm so glad it's like night and day.
Welcome to the
club.
club.
How did I survive before? It's just the difference. The stuff I take for granted.
It's right. It becomes second nature, and you're like, "What was I doing before?"
It's amazing. I mean, I know that I haven't quite put Siri on. That's kind of my line in the sand to tell myself that I'm not living in the Cylons world. But we all know we're living in the Cylons world.
But I think I don't use Siri a lot either. But I think it's an age thing. I think we've both hit the line where we're both not accustomed to.
Are you calling us old?
Adrian. We're not old, but I think we are young enough to accept and use technology, but old enough to not have adapted this technology that all these younger people are using. Like you see these younger people that like everything they do is like
you can
voice
can
command.
say the word millennials.
Yeah, millennials.
Yeah.
They text via voice all the time. They ask Siri to do things, and I'm like, but for some reason I've been using it for so long that I'm like, I'll just use my finger. It's fine. Whichever one's worse or better, I don't know. But
Siri, can you reevaluate my life choices? Like, I actually think that's, I'm just saying. You're a model, too.
I don't think so. But I guess technically.
Have you been paid
I have been
to pose
paid
for still photos?
I have.
Okay.
But
and there's no union that covers that.
There isn't. It's all like, hey, whatever you guys want to pay these people.
Right.
But I mean, I say but I have a lot of friends that are models, and it's great. But it's like my least favorite thing to do is stand there and smile for something.
Right.
But you know what? Someone's gonna write me a paycheck to do it, and it's not for anything crazy. You want me to slang an item that isn't
like S. Scott McCracken, who's was the phone-in guest on I want to say episode 7. He's the new face of the Men's Warehouse. He replaced George Zimmer.
That is a nice. I know that
gig,
guy.
right?
Glasses. He wears glasses in the commercial.
Now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good gig.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What was the old Men's Warehouse line? What was it?
You'll like it. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And he had the beard I have now.
He basically
I have a
has
George
your
Zimmer
beard.
beard.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
You do have the George
Wow,
Zimmer.
Thanos happened and I became George Zimmer, but it's my buddy who replaced George Zimmer. Such a confusing world.
It is.
You're also a host.
I am a
host. Which is not the same thing as a model.
That is definitely not the same thing as a model.
I know this because I once hosted a fashion show populated with models in San Francisco. So
there you go. Now you had both worlds come together, and
I've been paid to model too.
Yeah, well, I think if you're out here,
not often.
Yeah,
but it's happened.
But it's happened. Someone wrote you a check to smile and pose. It's great.
Right.
But yes, I am a host. But I like hosting. It's a good little way to stay in the industry and meet people.
Like host on TV, or is this host like at a live event?
Mixed bag. I'll do stuff on camera. I'll do stuff for like industrials. I do live shows a few times a year, things like that for different companies. But it's a mixed bag. It's fun, man. I always tell everyone, like, if they're looking for like a side gig and they like being in front of the camera, hosting's great. Hosting is great.
For those of you listening on your podcast, and now on Apple Podcasts, I'm waving. I'm saying hi, teacher, Adrian. I'm here. I'm available.
I'm here.
I can host. You also, and this is the bulk of what I imagine we might chat about here.
All right.
For good reason, because you are literally. There's a lot of people in this town that like to say, "I'm an actor." But I'm holding in my never nicotine-stained fingers here the proof, the IMDb listings, and there are many, of your SAG-AFTRA now, and has been for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Acting work. A lot of it television, but there's also film.
Yeah. It's definitely skewed more towards TV, but definitely.
Now, according to IMDb, they've done the metrics, and I mean, we should believe them because, Amazon owns them, so it's, right?
I had no idea until like 6 months ago that Amazon owned IMDb.
For those of you not in the industry, if you go on and aren't familiar with IMDb, any actor that you look up on IMDb, or really any person, cast or crew, there will be 4 productions that they are, quote, known for. And theoretically, this is based on like their popularity and all this. They have also what's called a star meter, and they have that for both. Yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, it's a whole other bag.
That's an entire podcast unto itself, right? Just on the IMDb star meter. But it's a thing. It's out there. It's a metric, and you have to deal with it. It's like comments on YouTube. It's like, it's a thing. It's
a part of
I'm not saying you're going to like it. I'm just saying you're going to have to deal with it. That's all I'm saying. All right?
It's just going to be there, all right?
But you are known for, and I'm going to go from what IMDb considers of the top 4.
Okay.
The least popular, and we'll end with the most popular.
Sounds good.
And we'll just kind of get your sense of like what you enjoyed about that production. And we'll do this for these different productions too, because there's a lot of them that I'm not touching on all of them, but there's a few that kind of cherry picked that kind of caught my eye. So, but this is what you're known for, The Newsroom, which is an amazing, and that's one of those things I think I just saw like the first episode, but wanted to see rest, and then I got sucked into something else.
Yeah,
but great show. And Jeff Daniels, he's from Chelsea, Michigan, which is right outside of Ann Arbor, which is where I spent a decade of my life.
Was it really?
Michigan.
Him and I actually had a long conversation about it because during the time I was dating somebody.
No kidding.
From Michigan.
What?
Yeah, that was actually grew up in Bad Axe, Michigan, and he spent.
That's up north, isn't it?
Along the hand, it's like right about there.
Okay, for those of you who can't hear sight, Adrian just held his hand up because for those of you from Michigan, and I know some of you listen, you're not just from. Was it Denmark? I think we had a listener this week, as well as, hey, Brooklyn, he held up his hand because theoretically, Michigan looks like a mitten.
It does.
That's what we're told. And so people from Michigan, instead of Googling it or doing Google Maps, they will point on their hand as if it's a map, and they'll say, yeah, I'm right here, which always, as a guy from California, I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like lift up my leg,
Just put your leg out,
point to my crotch.
Like, here I am.
It's like, what's that? Knock out my kneecap. That's San Francisco, a Tahoe. Like what? I don't, what do I do? I don't know how to reciprocate.
You're like, what the hell? But yeah.
Michigan's the only one who does that. Okay, so you're pointing like midway up. That's like Lansing or above Lansing.
Your guess would be as good as mine on that one.
Lansing's like dead center.
Is that how? Yeah.
Much.
So roughly, like basically, let's just say an hour out of Detroit. That's out of
okay.
We'll say that. I don't know which even direction.
They call that southeastern Michigan.
Okay. That's such a great.
I had no idea we'd be talking about Michigan for even a second on this podcast.
The geographics of Michigan.
Right.
But yeah, we had chatted about Michigan and how
you and Jeff Daniels.
He lives full time in Michigan.
Yeah.
Bay City or near Bay City.
He started a theater company there.
Yeah, loves it. Says does not like Los Angeles. And he's been very open about that in writing and stuff like that. So it wasn't just like some secret conversation we had. But that was a great experience.
Yeah, he's in New York now doing To Kill a Mockingbird.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome to see him. He's so talented, man. Like to get a chance to work with him and like.
So you actually got to talk to him on.
Yeah, we chatted for like 10, 15 minutes before the scene started. I had one quick line with him. So we were chatting as they were getting the scene set up, and it was just an unbelievable experience, like meeting him and like having Aaron Sorkin like sit down and work with me for literally one line, and all these different like people that I'm like, holy hell, you're just like, I'm like, it was just, I'm still speechless in regards to getting
Aaron
a chance to
Sorkin
work
was
with him.
just on Mark Maron's What the Fuck WTF podcast.
Was he really?
Yeah.
You can see why he's so good at what he does. Even in our table read, like everyone loves him. No one was like, sometimes you get a sense of like, oh, we don't really like him, but we're here to work with him.
Yeah.
Everyone loves this guy. They've all done multiple different shows or movies with him. And he's just so hands-on in regards to like his script.
Sure.
And how it should go and what's going to happen.
A lot of moving parts.
I'm like I
Very
said,
nuanced.
one line in the show and he's like sitting with me and explaining like how it should go and who I am and like
Which could easily be like a first AD or someone that's, down the food chain of the crew.
I've been on shows before with a similar thing, and the director comes in and just says like one thing to you or just introduces himself, and he's
You
like,
could
okay,
literally
great.
not know what the director looks like or even sounds like because it's like the first AD the whole time
No
calling
idea.
everything. Yeah.
But it was great. Great experience. Great show.
That's so cool.
You can see why I did so well type thing,
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, cannot complain about that one. Jeff
Very
Daniels is a
cool.
really nice guy.
So what you get a sense of him from watching the different characters he plays that shines through and
For sure. I
real
think
life.
the one thing that I've noticed about most actors that are really good and that I really enjoy watching is you get a sense of that person coming through in a lot of these characters. So like in meeting the
Right,
real
yeah.
Jeff Daniels,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, so you are in every one of these characters. You just also have created something
That's the
that
secret
accentuated,
sauce. Yeah.
which is
right.
I think is
Amplify
like you said,
it.
the secret sauce is like
Sure.
putting you in there somewhere, or if not most of it, and then just amplifying it in some way to make it different.
Because they cast Adrian, they didn't cast,
Yeah.
Raul.
Yeah,
So.
he's like, but which one are you gonna get?
Although if they need to cast Raul,
I'm
you can
here
pull
too.
out Raul.
I'm here
Yeah.
too. Hey.
Hey, Raul, he's a good cat. I know this guy. Yeah, work together. It's fantastic, Raul. Yeah.
That's a solid impression.
Thank you, brother. It's probably my best. Hansel and Gretel. Somehow that seems like a good segue from.
I love that. That's
Little
like one of the
Beetlejuice.
top things that I'm known for.
Got a sense. I was like, that's something where like I drove past the studio and somehow I have a credit.
Yeah, it was the only reason
It
I
was
got.
like a short film, though, right?
Oh no, it was full on.
It was a feature film.
A feature film.
Okay.
On Netflix. The Asylum was the company. The only reason I got that job. Maybe because I did good work in the audition, but in talking with the director during the audition, he grew up in the same town that I grew up in.
Fair
We
enough.
had no idea, never met each other, and he found out that I lived in Antioch. He grew up in Antioch, and where he was like, "Oh, okay," called me
You get me.
called me a little later. Hey, man, you got the audition. Congratulations. To be honest with you, it didn't hurt that you lived in Antioch. And he's
That's
put me in other
awesome.
movies, and we keep in contact with each other.
Dude, it's your number 3 on known for on IMDb. So it's
Anthony
it helps.
Ferrante. He's a hell of a guy. He directs all the Sharknado movies.
And we're going to get to that in a sec. I would love to have him on the podcast.
Hey, I'll hook you guys up.
Yeah,
he's a great chat. He's
That would be
a fun
awesome.
dude.
Well, I mean, while we're at it, also Jeff Daniels and Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do about that. We
Yeah,
didn't-
you're like, yeah, I'll just get right on that.
Mr. Daniels.
Jane the Virgin is your number 2 known for on IMDb.
Jane the Virgin was fun, man. I had no idea that the show was going to be as popular as it was. Another great experience. Gina Rodriguez was the sweetest person I've ever met. She's deserving of everything that she's got going for her. I heard a story.
yeah.
She didn't do it when I was there, but the story was that before every scene or before every day, she would gather all the background people together and
What?
and basically let them know how important they were to the show.
That's unheard of.
That she was very happy to have them here, and that they weren't there, the show would not be able to be as good as it is or be what it was.
As someone who
right?
has worked a ton
Both
of
of us.
background,
I've-
I can count on one hand the number of times that anyone
Yeah, it
of
was
significance on a production actually came back and said, hey,
such just a testament to who she is. She
That's
was
awesome.
Very, very. I will first person to admit I screwed up a couple times in the scene, and she was like first person like coming in like, it's okay. This is all about you right now. Calm down. You're gonna be fine. And it was cool. It was cool to have someone like has your back that could have easily been like, can you hurry this up?
right,
Like,
right.
Can
oh,
we
absolutely.
Can we get this moving?
Yeah.
But great show, great person.
I
Very-
should see it. I've heard of it. I know haven't seen an episode.
To be
so I
honest,
don't know.
I've seen a handful of episodes, but it's definitely a
I should check it out.
telenovela type of.
Because I know a guy
comedy.
who's in it.
I knew a guy that's in it.
All right.
I think the 8th episode of season 1.
Right on. Lethal Weapon, not the movie,
Definitely not the movie, but the TV show.
with Tom Lennon.
Yeah, was Tom Lennon in the show?
Yeah.
Where is he? Is he a
He
regular?
plays, was it Bernie Getz? Not Bernie Getz.
Leo
The
Getz?
Leo, that
Did he
Getz.
play Leo Getz?
He plays Leo Getz, yeah.
He took Joe Pesci's role.
Yep.
Good for him.
He did.
Love John. I know you have a whole
did.
nother.
So clearly he wasn't in the episodes that you were.
I only did one. I was in the pilot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Mick G was a director, and it was pre the whole issue that happened with the casting where they let the actor go, and now they have Sean something in there now. I don't know. But anyway,
Gotcha.
cool experience. Blew up a building. You know,
Nice.
Got to brandish a weapon next to a cop car.
That's is Damon Wayans is the lead?
Yeah, Damon Wayans is the lead. He was cool. He was
Nice.
funny, very into being the cop that day, and it was
Right
cool, man.
on.
Because I grew up on Lethal Weapon, so it was like
Sure.
you know, seeing like these.
Why
I was like
not?
very skeptical to see what these guys were gonna do, but
Right.
anytime in the business, like
You're like, don't fuck with my lethal weapon.
yeah, right. Like you said, it was cool to sit in a car and have a guy catch an air in shorts next to you. It was cool to run around with a gun with a police officer uniform on and watch a building blow up. So
That's crazy.
fun times, you know. Fun
That's
times.
amazing. Amazing. Right on. Now, you've also done motion capture. For folks who are not familiar with the industry, what is motion capture and what do you do as an actor?
Motion capture is in video games and nowadays a lot of CGI filmmaking, but you put a suit on.
Like Avengers Endgame.
Avengers Endgame.
Or Aquaman that everyone just saw.
Definitely a lot of motion capture in that.
Captain Marvel coming up.
Yeah, Captain, all things that I love and can't wait to see. They put on a suit. They track you with these infrared cameras and whatnot.
They don't, you do.
Well, yeah. Well,
Because you've done it.
Yeah, they do all this stuff. But I only did video games, but it was fun. It's
So you got like you're covered in golf balls?
one of
looks
them I
like
was
golf
covered
balls?
in golf balls, and then the other one was just like the suit with dots on it.
Right.
They did that too. So got to do military thing for like Mafia 2, I think it was, for a video game. We did a few things for ESPN. It was cool. It's fun stuff, man. It's a very tight-knit world though. I tried to like come down to LA and be like, I've done motion capture before. And
Yeah. Oh, so that was up in the Bay Area.
yeah, people are like, no,
It's like voiceover and everything in the industry. It's like these tight, insular little worlds, and
I
it's
mean,
like good luck getting in
I get it. Those, you know, they want to keep their world.
or become a celebrity, and then they're like, "Yeah, hey, come into our world," you know?
Yeah, but it was fun as hell. If anybody ever gets a chance to do it, it's an amazing time.
And the reason for it, I mean, I think most people maybe know by now, but for that one person listening, it's basically you're trying to make the animation that's done on screen look lifelike because you're actually capturing on video the movements of an actual human actor, and then they overlay onto those movements whatever costume or creature effects or whatever. But
Very accurate statement there.
is that
Very accurate statement.
maybe I should, before we started the podcast today, we were joking that I should start some cheesy acting class in the Valley. Like,
Yeah, like
people have no experience. Like, Acting 101 for beginners. With only 3 easy payments of $99 each.
fine. You can probably go
for
higher
the
than that. It's
first
fun.
week of classes. Well, help you become a Hollywood suggester. Yeah.
do you have a podcast? Do you have a podcast?
Do you have a credit card?
Then shut up. Then shut your mouth and listen to me.
Right. Oh my God.
Oh, gotta love
All right, now let's go to some of the noteworthy stuff. We'll start from the older stuff. This is stuff that kind of caught my eye. But we already mentioned Hell's Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also on Access Hollywood.
I was.
Is that where you get now? Were you doing a hosting thing there? Is it an interview thing?
Technically was a hosting thing. So it was
Nice.
during the food thing. So they brought me on to do a cooking demonstration live on the show.
That's Mario's gig, right?
Yeah. I think mine was like a whole thing where I was promoting my show, and they brought me on to do like a Thanksgiving thing. So it was like with Billy Bush and Kit. I don't know.
That Billy Bush. Huh?
Yeah, that Billy Bush, but
Nice.
pre I'm not going to be working on television anymore, Billy Bush.
Oh boy.
But I mean, they were very nice people when I was there that day.
You've never worked with Donald Trump?
No grabbing going on that day. You know what I'm saying? So it was a very, very easy day. But yeah, it was cool. It was a little semi-hosting,
I asked. Well, I guess we'll have to get the answer here. So I don't have furious fans. Have you now, sir, or have you ever worked with Donald Trump?
I have never worked with Donald Trump.
You heard it here first on the podcast,
Yep.
kids. You're welcome. All right, I'm asking the tough questions. I'm getting the answers. You were also on a couple soap operas, The
yes.
Young and the Restless, and The Bold and the Beautiful.
You have not been an actor in LA unless you've had a chance to work on a soap opera in some way, shape, or form.
I have yet to do that.
You need to.
Okay.
They're great. Yeah, it was fun. It was normal. Here's your script. Go. You get a couple chances to do it, and you hope you do it in those chances. Otherwise, they're probably
They
gonna
run a
move on.
tight ship. Like, it's like a factory to
It
just
is
churn it out, right?
They go through so many. You think you've seen a lot of scenes get done in like a TV show when you're on set. This is a times a million. Those dudes like that work on those shows as actors. People look at them, they're like, oh, they're not that great at it. Like, no, they're probably some of the best actors you've ever met. it just seems like they're doing like a really shitty job because they go so fast, they get the script done,
Sure.
and they just don't care. They're like, all right, cool. These people just want to see you do stuff on screen and say things. It's
right.
fine.
Pretty
But
much.
their memorization skill is lights
Wow.
out compared to anything that I've seen. You know,
That's crazy. You were also on The Mentalist.
that was Sacramento. They did a shoot up in Sacramento, and
I think I did background on that once or
yeah,
twice.
they did that up in Sacramento. It was just like a little police officer role, and
You were on Dexter too.
I got to run around that was the first thing I did in LA for film.
Oh, no kidding.
For
Okay.
film. Yeah, it was they cast me as like a Hispanic day laborer who was hiding barrels in water, which actually had dead
So they
bodies
hired
on them.
Raul.
Yeah, they did hire Raul. I hadn't changed it yet. And little did they know.
I just don't feel like Adrian's the type of guy that would be working, in the field.
Got to say gracias really quickly as I was handed some money, and that was the end of that.
Nice.
So yeah, that was fun. That was the first big thing I did in LA when I got here.
Very nice. Very nice. I think I shared on a previous podcast. I actually had an interaction with Eddie James Olmos.
Ooh,
Yeah.
love me some Eddie James almost.
Well, it was not the kind you would want. And
not that good.
yeah, real quick, I plugged my phone with PA permission. Okay. Production assistant who you report to if your background, there's a hierarchy. And I'm like, hey, I got to charge my phone. Can I charge it in this trailer that's soon to ban? And he's like, yeah, nobody's using it. Yeah, no problem. I'm like, okay. So I come back to get it. Door opens. I'm staring right at Eddie James Olmos.
Oh,
and
no.
he goes, as only Eddie James Olmos, I can't do his voice, but he's like, can I help you? Just thinking, this is the worst place, position, reason, everything's wrong here. And I just thought the quicker I get this over with, he's going to forget me in 5 seconds anyways. So I just grabbed my phone and cord real quick. I said, no, sir, sorry, bye.
Or Edward
off.
James almost is still telling that story today of the opposite way.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know.
And then I walked into the
that.
trailer.
Yeah. You're also on getting into these crime procedurals. You were on Castle, which I think I was on an episode, and Bones, which I think I did a few episodes.
Castle was cool, man. Nathan Fillion is an amazing dude. Just really cool. Got to work on the show for a week, and it was just, he was lights out. Like, one of the nicest dudes I've ever met. Just
Seems like it.
Showing me, trips him and his brother took, with shark diving and stuff like that. He's just a really
Nice.
fun dude, So that was cool. And then Bones was a quick in and out, and nothing really bad or good to say about the show. Just it was a good opportunity, It was fun though. It's always fun. Always fun
Right.
when you get to be on set.
Right.
Yeah, good times.
And you were on Sharknado,
I was in Sharknado. That was another
which is epic. I mean,
Anthony Ferrante special. The funny thing about that is I had the opportunity to read for one of the characters before. I couldn't make it to the audition, so I didn't get a big role in it. But then Anthony called me one day and said, "Hey man, I need this dude to come out and say a couple things. Will you just come and do this really quickly?" And I was like, "Sure, let's come play." I had no idea that the thing was going to blow up the way it did, but it was
That's
really
hilarious.
fun to be a part of that whole.
I think
world.
I think the creator of it follows me on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. I have some odd Twitter followers.
It's a good
Odd as in why is Tom Cruise following me?
Yeah,
Odd.
but still
He does,
amazing.
I don't
But
know
still
why.
amazing.
Right? Yeah, it's crazy. I haven't seen Sharknado, but I'm grateful that it exists.
It's an amazing, amazing
I
ride.
feel it's the way I'm grateful that Caddyshack or Office Space or Swingers exist.
Yeah, I mean, I watch it every day, but it's there.
just to know that it's part of the cultural,
Yeah.
the zeitgeist, if you will. It's,
Definitely a phenomenon.
now, in the last year or so, you were also on Jimmy Kimmel Live, which is right in my neighborhood.
Right across the street from where you busk, my
Right?
man.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
And thank you for using the proper term,
Yeah.
good sir.
But yeah, it was cool. I met him very briefly, but worked with cousin Sal, and that was just a cool day. Getting
Nice.
to mess with people and do a prank thing.
You
on
were
them.
the pizza delivery
pizza
guy.
delivery guy.
I think
yeah.
I saw that. It was
Yeah,
a
we
good-
did
good
that all
little
day
bit.
long, but it was a good time. That was just total fun.
You're also an Angie Tribeca, which I
Yeah.
notice is highlighted on your website.
Yep, it was cool. That was a fun one. Just
I saw the clip today. I was like, that was just crazy, just insane.
it's just old school airplane comedy, and that's just kind of the vibe of it, and it was.
I need to see it. I'm like, this is insane.
The show's hilarious.
You're pulling a gun out in an office and
shooting people and throwing knives at people for
but
no
that's
apparent reason.
there's like 5 people that come to see you, and that was the middle one, and then there's still more people, and it's like
it's great.
Airplane's a great reference. That's exactly.
It's a fun show though, man. It was a good opportunity. Loved working with the cast and crew, and I like doing comedy a lot. I don't get a chance to do it a lot, but when I get a chance, it's
great.
It's always a blast. Appreciate it.
I love it. Only Children.
Only Children. Very, very small thing on that. I did a couple.
That's on Vimeo. I was trying to figure out which platform it's on.
Yeah. So
right?
they dropped it on Vimeo, but
okay, so that's the platform.
Unbelievable thing. The show did really, really well in regards to it has a bunch of pre-daytime Emmy nominations, a bunch of Indie Award nominations for it. They did a really good job with the show, man. I was really happy to be.
And what's your role in that show?
I play flashback scenes of one of the main characters, the younger version. I play the younger version's teacher that she kind of has a crush on.
Okay.
So it's kind of a fun little, back and forth between her and I, and nothing crazy happens.
Setting you up for future big budget rom-com roles there, Mr. Adrian.
Hey.
Nothing
but it was
wrong
cool.
with that.
Cool little show to be on. I appreciated the opportunity. It was kind of like an offer thing anyway, so it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, this has nothing to do with IMDb metrics, but it is an Amazon show,
Ooh.
and I have a love for, but also a very interesting, close connection with this show. And you are on it, and when it releases the new season, we'll get to see you in it in a possibly recurring role.
Yeah,
I am talking about Bosch.
Bosch is a great show. Loved everything about it. Great opportunity. I'm in a couple episodes this season. Hopefully be back next season. I'm Officer Franco Rodriguez. I'll be in the first episode and then the 5th episode. But great show in the fact that it showcases Los Angeles. The cast and crew are great. Titus is really welcoming. I've had an opportunity to stay in touch with some of the other cast members in the show in working on it, and it's just, man, great show.
Nice.
Quick segue of that, though, really quickly. I know we're running slowly out of time. One of the directors that used to work on Trauma all the time was the director of my first episode on the show.
Oh, no kidding.
Random,
That's cool.
small world, small industry type thing. But I was like, I remember when you'd be on the show and work us 14-hour days, and we'd love you because we were getting paid background wages. And if you worked 14-hour days, at least you knew you were making a lot more money than a 6-hour day.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was a great show though, man. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
And it's set literally at Hollywood, LAPD Hollywood Station, which is literally in my neighborhood. I have a credit union, and there's literally an ATM machine in the front desk where you go into someone assaulted my cat, officer. I want to file, my car got, grimaced at by an angry person. Where do I file a report? That's where I have the ATM machine, and I actually had you 2 little tweets that Titus himself seemed to enjoy involving my Lieutenant Frank.
That's great. Swedish runs forever. You got Heinrich to do a thing too. Swedish runs forever.
And Heinrich is?
He is the executive producer of the show. So he is a very high up, well-respected man on set.
They seem to like Lieutenant Frank's reaching out.
That's so funny,
on
dude.
Twitter. There's some photos
I love your reach on Twitter. It's just the most random people of
right?
Of high caliber in the industry.
Right?
It's great.
It's crazy. If only I could get some of them here on the podcast.
Oh man, this is great. This is so funny. Look at you. Look
right?
at you. You said you had a connection.
No. Well, I'm not on Wikipedia like a certain Adrian Bustamante. Look at that. I actually printed it out.
Wikipedia.
You're on Wikipedia.
Does anybody go on Wikipedia anymore? I feel like I can just put
it's
anything
still a
on
thing.
Is it still a thing?
It's still a thing. It's basically if you got a buddy who can put something on
fake
there,
information
right?
for the most, if you really want to.
No, yours is pretty good. I mean, I think it
needs to be
a
updated
little
from what I've
outdated.
heard
Yeah,
from my management and stuff like that. I was like, well,
but you're on Wikipedia. Not everybody's on Wikipedia. Just saying.
Made it. I made it.
Just saying. You have arrived.
I did it.
Now, you also, as we wrap up here, let's talk a little bit, because you do have management representation, but I'm intrigued by, you made some comments about how your confidence is really important to you, and you haven't really had any formal acting training, so kind of Wrap that all up in a nice bow, will you,
Wrap that up in a nice
Adrian,
bow.
and kind of share your thoughts on.
Yeah, I have representation. I think it's very important to have a very good team and supportive team behind you, especially in this town, because you need to be able to like bounce things off people, but you also have to have the confidence to make a decision for you. Because I always say the same thing. There's no template for any way or shape or form for this industry to work out for anybody. Because if there was, someone would have written it all down and sold it for a lot of money to every new person that comes into this town.
Right.
So it's just, every time somebody says, well, that didn't work for so-and-so and so-and-so, and you're like, right, but I feel confident it'll work for me. So you just got to go with your gut. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but
at the end of the day, it's your thing. So
yeah,
you got to make the executive decision.
And you have to have the team behind you that's going to allow you to do that. My team is very good about that. They're like, listen, this is our advice. Now it's your turn to make the decision. And that's great for me. Like, I'd much rather have it that way than someone being like, no, you need to do it this way. And if you don't do it this way, then.
So you're driving the bus. You got a team that you trust that can give you good information,
Correct,
and advice, and be a sounding board. But at the end of the day, they gotta fit in with your mission. It's not you, like Oliver Twist going, more porridge, sir.
Totally. And I know a lot of people that are like that, and if, I think it's you
begging
tend to,
for more porridge.
You tend to have a longer longevity and a more of a chance to have better opportunities if you're not begging for porridge.
Right? Exactly. I don't get that, but I'm glad we're on the same page on that. So what's next for Adrian Bustamante? What that you could discuss?
Yeah, I can't discuss what I did on it, but we just shot an episode of This Is Us.
Nice.
Yeah, so very excited because it's probably one of my favorite, if not favorite, show on television. So
did they just win some SAG-AFTRA awards?
They did one Best Ensemble for Drama
nice.
series. So,
that's on NBC, right?
Yep. So congrats to them.
I should probably watch an episode.
Very excited. It's a great show.
I was busy watching Bosch. I'm sorry.
Sorry. You gotta watch something. There's like 500 series everywhere, streaming and on networks. Kind of hard to catch them all. That's the latest thing I did, and very excited because it's just a surreal opportunity. I think when you get a chance to work on a show where you are like really watching every week and loving what these guys are doing, and then you realize
you're
that,
a fan.
Now I'm working across the way from this person, and I'm like staring at them weird, and they're wondering why I'm staring. It's like you have to.
It's crazy,
but it's cool. That's the latest thing, and that'll be out in March.
Oh, cool. Okay, so that's coming up pretty quick here.
Yeah, it'll show.
And this will actually, the episode will drop. It's February already. When this episode drops.
Whew.
Right.
Yeah. Next thing you know, it's Christmas.
Well, it's great to see you,
You
brother.
too,
No,
buddy.
we were supposed to have you on last fall, but you literally booked a commercial the next day, and it was like, "Hey, Mark, delegate my homework. It's a nice paycheck." So
remember we talked about? Yeah, that happened. So always good to be here, man. I love it. I was glad we got a chance to kind of get it together and make it work.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear from you, like a solid working actor that I personally know and have known since my early days in the business. It's we kind of went some different paths. We had different backgrounds, but I'm really happy for you, brother.
Yeah, same right back at you, man. I've listened to the podcast when you send them my way, and they're great and they're really entertaining. And I love that you get out and you do your thing. You do the I love the busking thing you do on the streets, because I think it just shows a lot of people come into town and they have like a weird idea of what they can and can't do in the city, and it's like, no, if you want to go do this, like do it. If you enjoy it, that's what you want to do. It's all a part of the industry. It's all a part of like having fun and like getting out there. And just that's
you're too kind, brother.
No,
Lieutenant Frank actually got scouted by location scouts from Ray Donovan.
Really?
And the only reason what got filmed, they hired me.
That's
but the only reason it didn't make the cut, when I watch a scene, it's like the flow of that scene.
Sure.
The second you see Lieutenant Frank in women's short shorts, rainbow tactical leg warmers,
take it all up.
You're immediately pulled out of what Ray Donovan was doing, and for a drama, like it's a little too much comedic relief. So I can totally understand why they yanked it. No hurt feelings whatsoever. I was really grateful to work on it. But it's crazy. That's the thing. It's like you create your own thing, and the town will find you.
Yeah,
if it's good, if people like it,
it has to do with that, and it has to do with just like if you're enjoying it, people see that.
Right.
It's the thing. If you were out there with a sourpuss on your face and like, I'm only here because this is what I'm doing for money, people will be like, hey, get out of here, creep. But they see that you're enjoying it and having fun with it, so that's why they gravitate.
It's like why you like Jeff Daniels, because he's being Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, he's being him.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do it.
Great way to end the podcast, brother. Great catching up with you, man.
You too, brother.
All right. That was so cool catching up with Adrian. Adrian's awesome. Man, I can't imagine. It was amazing to see all the connections we had beyond the ones I was already aware of. Just the synchronicities or the idiosyncrasies or whatever. Some city in a song that Sting sang, right? Or the Police. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Fun interview. Had a good time catching up with Adrian. And I'm really happy that there's people like Adrian that are doing well in this business and here in this town. We need more like him. So be sure to go see him on This Is Us coming up. And my favorite, of course, Bosch. Hey, any links to some of the stuff we mentioned on the show, you can find at MarkRomanEmpire.com. Thanks to our listeners across the globe. I see you, Brooklyn, Denver, and Littleton in the Colorado. And I see you too, Mexico City, Edgeby, Denmark, and Squamish, Canada. Oh, Canada. I kind of want to do anything on Squamish. I want to do a stand-up comedy set. I want to read my poem there, do a poetry reading. Come on, who doesn't want to go to Squamish, Canada? Please, whoever's listening to me in Squamish, Canada, write me an email. I want to answer your question. I want to know what your questions are from Squamish, Canada. I'm curious. Seriously, I mean it. From my heart. Hey, both Vanka and Will, a.k.a. Will and Grace, need our help. They are still homeless, but you can hero tier. Go to MarkRomanEmpire.com, click Vanka, and you can listen to the podcast now on Apple Podcasts, also Mixcloud, Podbean, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Go to MarkRomanEmpire.com, click Listen. Are you a citizen of my podcast? If not, you missed out on previous contests. Join my mailing list, the Mark Roman Empire Census. Sometimes we have special deals and perks for podcast citizens. To become a podcast citizen, join the census. Go to MarkRomanEmpire.com, click Census. Twitter, still at the Mark Roman. Instagram, got one now for Mark Roman Empire. You can email your questions to me at romanpodmail@gmail.com. You don't even have to be from Squamish, Canada to do that. I might even answer them on the podcast, but I can't answer if you don't write me and ask. Oh, how you guys doing out there? I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm pretty happy. We're on the iTunes now, the Apple Podcast. That's kind of a big deal. But now we're on it. And we got people listening from Edgeby, Denmark. That sounds like a fun place. I guess I got to get a passport now. Things to do. Hey, until next week, how can you hero tier for Vanka and Will, a.k.a. Will and Grace? Remember Clownelin and Prince St. Paul. I am the Mark Roman.